There is a case, the DiCristina case, and I know the PPA has an opinion on appealing potentially the ruling that's been made. Well, so tell me the update on that.
Sure. Well, to be clear, it's not the PPA's decision. It's solely Larry DiCristina's decision, and he has his own attorneys that's advising him. The PPA has simply served as amicus in this case. DiCristina took the case to the courts, and the PPA supported him along the way. We're not supporting him financially. We are supporting him in terms of providing our own experts and testimony to prove that poker is a game of skill. So it's really up to Mr. DiCristina. We have no say in it. If he wants to take the decision, the current decision, he can, or if he wants to appeal, he will, and if he does appeal, we're going to support him. So just to be clear, it's not a PPA-driven thing. It's me, Mr. DiCristina, driving the bus here, and we're going to go along for the ride. One of the things that people, I think, misunderstand with the decision from the Second Circuit is that it doesn't undermine the lower federal court's opinion that poker is a game of skill. It doesn't even touch that issue. It simply says the IGBA, the Illegal Gambling Business Act, does apply to poker in New York City. And that's exactly what he's being charged with. It doesn't say, skill or not skill is not relevant to the debate. It's poker is gambling under this act, and it would be covered under the state of New York. So, the IGBA distinction isn't really something the PPA, it's not really central to our mission. We don't think poker should be viewed as illegal gambling because of the skill distinction, but since the court really didn't touch the skill distinction, that still holds and is still a precedent that we can use elsewhere. But we'd like to see the case reaffirmed by a higher court or re-looked at by the Second Circuit, and hopefully they will even say something affirmative to the idea that poker is in fact a game of skill.
Yeah, and I know that it's been your mission to not convince, but to just show everyone that it is a game of skill. Although there are people that argue that you have to have skill to be a professional sports gambler, and you have to have skill. Like, you've got blackjack players that get kicked out of the casino because they're doing whatever they're doing, but obviously that must take skill. Correct. So then why this fight to prove that poker is a game of skill if these other games are skill, but that hasn't allowed for those games to be regulated either?
Well, there isn't, as far as I know, a sports players alliance or a blackjack players alliance that's willing to take on those fights. And to be clear, the question of whether poker is a game of skill is a legal question. I don't want to confuse that this is the way we believe we're going to get regulation and licensing in the U.S. The reason you're going to get licensing in the U.S. is because of consumer protection and potential revenues for states, and those are the arguments. I don't go and talk to lawmakers and talk about poker being a game of skill. It is a talking point. It's a way we just separate poker from casino-style games, that it is a peer-to-peer game. It is individuals competing against each other, not against the house. But as a talking point for, this is a reason why it should be licensed and regulated because it's a game of skill. That's not a political argument. It is a legal argument, though. There is a difference on how games are treated under the law, whether they're games of skill, a predominant skill, or games of predominant chance. And so that's why we believe, pushing for that on a two-pronged approach to differentiate poker from other games, not at the expense of other games, but just to differentiate poker from other games is appropriate for us to do. But it's a completely different approach to what we're doing on Capitol Hill or in state capitals when we're talking about regulating and licensing it. Poker as a game of skill is not really a talking point. It's just really kind of and by the way.
Got it. Okay, thanks for clearing that up.
Sure.
So is there anything else, John, that you wanted to add about the poker industry and what we're going to be seeing in the U.S.? Or?
Well, I think I think a lot of people were very optimistic that, once some states got off the ground, that we'd see this domino effect. I think there's a lot more interest now at the state level than there's ever been. I think New Jersey is going to be a major barometer for the future of the industry. I think a successful launch in New Jersey with all eyes watching it will be very important. And I think that, once we see how New Jersey unfolds, I think you'll see a lot of other states like Pennsylvania, New York, and some others move forward, and perhaps New Jersey could become a hub for compacting and bringing in other states that may not want to do it on their own, but are looking for the expertise of a gaming state like New Jersey to kind of show them the way. I think that's, all eyes for the gaming industry should be on New Jersey right now, and I know everyone was going to be out in Las Vegas for G2E in a couple weeks, but I think everyone's going to be in Las Vegas, but really looking at New Jersey.
Well, John, this has been just fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Becky Legiro with John Pappas. Thanks for watching CalvinAir.com.